It's a beautiful, sunny winter's day, so let's have a look around the garden. So in the front garden, we've got the bamboo that's always looking good, the Phyllostacis vivax auriculis. It stands up to all the winter winds and cold weather. This one gets absolutely battered, but the leaves still look very, very fresh indeed. And then beside it and slightly underneath it is my Phoenix canariensis, which isn't a truly hardy palm at all, definitely half hardy. But for whatever reason, it's got through in my front garden. It's seen many temperatures down below -5, 6, 7. And here it's actually had -5 on a couple of occasions this winter, but it's been completely untouched, still nice and green. Even the oldest leaves are still looking good, and hopefully this year it's going to bulk up a bit. We've got a nice jabea there, which hopefully will carry on growing as it has been the last few years. And it's getting to a size now where it's going to be pushing around the Phoenix and the Alistriatulas below it, and this beautiful Yucca rostrata. Other plants in here include the Wagneranus palms behind. We've got some other yuccas, and we've got a Rapiphylo, Hystrix, very hardy needle palm. So one change I've made so far this year is I've brought the climbing frame and swing down to this part of the garden. In fact, because it was so big, I've actually cut it down to size and got rid of the climbing frame part. So we've just got the single swing, which is all we need, and it fits better in the area here. Palms are still looking good. Got the Butia Aries-Spatha looking good. The Trachycarpus nova and the Pseudopanax up in there against a beautiful blue sky, winter blue sky. But it does feel like spring is around the corner. Yes, it's been down to -2 the last 2 mornings, but we've got lots of things starting to grow. Waggies always slowly growing throughout the winter, and they'll speed up as spring arrives. Got the blue bamboos, and we've got the tree ferns looking a bit dishevelled here, but still got some green on the leaves. These are last year's leaves, so they'll be replaced in spring with new leaves. And then we come down to the messy area, very, very messy area of the garden, because what I'm doing is cutting down part of the hedge. So above the tall Fagecia robusta hedge, bamboo there, and behind that we've got some very tall conifers which I've not been keeping on top of the last few years. So I'm going to cut all this down so it's sort of the height of the eaves of the extension next door. So a good metre or so will be cut down across here, and I'll be thinning it out a bit as well. I've started just doing a little bit of that, and already that's taking up loads of space. All these bamboo cuttings I need to find a home for in terms of removing them. We've got the spring flowers out, got arum lilies starting here, we've got the daffodils, some are blooming, these are getting ready to bloom in the shady area of the garden. Some things are looking worse for wear, including this Latisectus palm tree here. So they're losing pretty much all the leaves because of the -5s and -6s we've had. But we've got the Schefflers looking good. Beautiful Scheffleras here. And even the not so hardy Macrophylla is holding on to all its leaves apart from the newest leaf. So that's good to see. Loquat tree looking good as well. Now, we'll try to get across the bridge. Before I do, we can see little Gunneras showing signs of life there. Gunnera tinctoria. This one's been blackened by the frost the last couple of days, but it's starting to unfurl its first leaves of the season. Now go across the bridge, and because the archway's fallen down in the wind, in the storms in winter, I've yet to move that. I'll be doing that soon. I'll be cutting back the climbers, and then it sort of opens up the space. So the jabea, as you can see there, you can see it from a distance now. It's really got space to shine and stand out rather than being enclosed by the archway as you approach it. And either side of the archway, plants are going to have a chance to shine. So we've got this Chemrops arborescence here. So the sole one trunk forming form of Chimerops humilis. So that should now sort of rocket upwards. And on the other side, we've got the Princeps palms, the true Trachycarpus Princeps palms, which narrowly missed disaster when the archway fell down. Other palm trees around it, bamboo in the background as well. And it's lovely to have a bit of sunshine. So let's just step across here and we can see the Stelia Red Devil. That's looking nice, that's looking good. Very happy with that. We've got the alliums coming out now, so bulbs that are planted last autumn are coming through, so they'll be flowering in spring and early summer. I'll turn round, we've got the pond, got the waterfall on here, aerating the water, and you can see down here we've got the gunneras already stirring. So it's been incredibly mild the last few weeks. February's been a very mild month overall. So things have started into life much earlier than normal. So we're definitely well ahead. Obviously the frost will cut things back quite quickly as well. Over here, we've got the Arid bed. And Linearis is looking good. And the Chimerops down here is looking good, Cerifera. Got a little agave. So my plan is, I planted out quite a few agaves last year just to see which ones are hardy and which ones aren't. This one so far is looking good, but some others aren't looking so good. I've gone a bit mushy already because it's been incredibly wet. So yes, it's been mild overall. We've had some cold periods, but overall it's been pretty mild winter. But it's been so wet at times. I put this cloche over this Apuntia just a few weeks ago, and that's probably a bad idea because as you can see, we've got dieback of that pad there, so I might just leave that cloche off. Didn't have the cloche on when we had the very cold weather. Thought I'd give it a chance with the cloche on. It's probably a bad idea. And under here, just lift that up. We've got a polyphylla, not looking very happy, and we've got a little cacti which looks totally fine there. And across there, we've got one of the yuccas here that I separated from the mother plant, and that's just establishing itself first year in the ground. That's looking okay. And I'll just step back, we'll just follow the path around, and we can see the Briar and Marta there, and that's looking nice and healthy. And in fact, it's already growing. You can see this central spear is already starting to open up. Very healthy, happy plants, even after all the rain we've had this winter. Something that isn't looking happy is that polyphylla. It's completely mush and dead. That was looking very unhappy before winter came, and then the first few days of winter saw it decline rapidly, and then it's totally died off. Over there we've got some more alliums coming through, and then we've got another view back to the Jabea Chilensis palm over there. So let's step through this arid bed. See some casualties again. Here we've got a few of the Agave Americana variegata, which really does not like the cold, wet weather we've had. They're pretty much mush. The regular Americana is looking okay under there. It's actually grown a bit because it's squashed down a bit, but it's got some spotting on some of the older leaves. So it's not like the wet weather. Even with this shelter, it's been pretty wet in the ground, so it would have liked that. Here, the Montana's looking fine. There's no damage whatsoever on this one or the one in the distance. Faxona yucca's looking great. And then I think, shall we go this way? Yeah, we'll go underneath here. I'll just duck down. See another yucca here. That was one that I divided last summer. The echiums completely died. Look at them, black mush, so they won't be flowering this year. Here we've got a nice Trachycarpus That's grown from a tiny plant to this towering plant that's been moved. It's spear pulled back in 2011 and it's not looked back since. And now it's much taller than me. So we'll follow the gravel path round. Here we've got the nice Chimerops humilis, which I've kept as a single stem. It tries to flower and fruit every year, hence all these funny appendages. But it's a nice, strong, growing palm tree in the arid bed. We follow the path round. We have got one little echium that's sort of hanging on to dear life. It's been munched by caterpillars at the same time. But that's not really going to look fantastic this year. We've got the black bamboo, Phyllostatus nigra, which is still not flowered for me, because I know for most people it has flowered, set seed, and the mother plant has pretty much died off, but not in my case yet. If we look around here, we've got this, which you might not recognise. This is Agave bracteosa, and that is untouched by winter. Nice little agave there. Let's see if you can get through winter that tiny size, then it's going to do great when it gets bigger. Underneath here, under this washing basket, got another agave. So quite a lot of damage here, but it's not been killed. And this is Agave Americana, lemon and lime, and it's still, you know, it's not died at all, so that's doing okay. What else have we got? We've got the Trachycarpus aureophilus, which is again slowly pushing through out leaves throughout winter. And although we've had those cold temperatures, it's not too damaged at all. Yes, the older leaves are a bit frazzled around the edges, but overall this palm tree is looking good. And hopefully, I said this last year and the year before, we must be due the first flowers on this. Then we can see if it's a boy or a girl, and then eventually, hopefully, be able to get some seeds if we cross-pollinate this with somebody else's aureophilus, because it's an extremely rare palm tree. You hardly ever see it in people's gardens, so it'd be great if we get this to flower and get some more seeds out. Bamboo's going crazy around here, and I'll be thinning out this area very soon. This is one of the main projects I want to do this year, because I'm on a budget this year, so I'm not spending lots on materials and new plants, but I can cut down plants and thin out things. So this bamboo will be one of those plants which I'll cut down, not remove, but just thin out. And if you can see the other side, I've got a nice bootia here, which is looking very happy. More palm trees down here, and we'll just go under this path, get down to this corner, and you can see these tree ferns actually look a lot healthier. Still kept most of the leaves nice and green because we've got a big laurel overhead. So we've got plenty of tree ferns down here. Here, look back and you can see there's all sorts going on here with palm trees taking over this area. So we'll be thinning this area out, and I can thin them out into this area, which was the climbing frame and swing. And like I said, I've removed the swing and climbing frame, moved that down to the front of the garden, front of the back garden. So we've got a nice big area to work with here. But obviously budgets will limit what I can do with this space. And then we've got some nice bamboos doing their thing here. And at the back of the garden, we've got the great big eucalyptus trees that are towering over this part of the garden now, many meters tall. And then we've got the fields beyond, so you can see how exposed it is at the back. We're literally, between us and the nearest neighbours over there is a green field, and beyond that you've just got absolutely loads of fields, no housing whatsoever. So it is pretty rural at the back of the garden, if not the front. So that's what the garden's looking like as we approach the end of winter, end of February 2024. This time, I think 5-6 years ago, it was deep in snow, and as we get into March, we can get plenty of snow. So winter's not over yet, early spring can see some very cold weather, but we're out of the worst months. We're out of the danger, the really big, bad danger months of December, January, and nearly February. So as I walk back through the garden, yes, there's lots of debris to sort out, but it won't be long before many things are pushing through the ground. I'll have cleared all the detritus from the garden, sorted out the archway here, and things will be bouncing back into life. So join me every week as we go through the year, looking at the garden, planting new plants, and we'll see how the exotic garden develops in 2024. Thank you for watching this edition of Exotic Gardening. Join me next week, where we'll be doing more in the garden.